Well, hello everybody and welcome. This is Lizzie and Justin from Thirdspace, and we are here, Lizzie, for our 408th conversation in this series, this very long conversation. It's wonderful to see you, and welcome to all of you who are with us. Some of you, many of you will be listening on a podcast platform, but you may be watching us. You may not know this. You can see us if you want on YouTube and also on our turning towards life website, where you can find all of the conversations and all of the sources. Each week we bring a source, and as you brought a fabulous, rather famous and completely excellent source for us to begin with. And we will begin in a minute, as we always do, by taking some time to read it and hear it from one another, and then launch into who knows what conversation will unfold from it. We're really glad to be surrounded by so many of you from around the world who are part of this conversation with us, whether you are listening in August 2025 or maybe some other time far out into the future. One of the things that makes this conversation what it is knowing, Lizzie, that we would do it anyway, but it's also part of a growing community of people. And if you find this conversation resonant, inspiring, thought-provoking, moving, worthwhile, and you think that there might be other people who would benefit from it, we really want to encourage you to share it and share this whole project with other people who you think would benefit. These days, really the only way to spread the word about something that's worthwhile is for people to talk to one another about it. Otherwise, you have to do something, Lizzie, that you and I were just talking about, that we are never going to do, which is to fit what we're doing to the algorithm of the day, to do the thing that YouTube want or TikTok want or whatever. And that's not what we're up to here. We're trying to do something much more real and alive and genuine than that. So please feel very welcome to share this. If you want to support us, you can find lots of ways of doing that on the Turning Towards Life website. You can also get an email every week from there, which has the source and links to this conversation. And in exactly a month, we are beginning a 6-month, the first season of a 6-month program community called Turning Towards Life Live that meets once a month. And you can come and join us and learn with us and learn with other people. And we're going to build something alongside the website that involves a chance to see one another and talk to one another. And we're very excited about it. You can find all the details also on the Turning Towards Life website. That's turningtowards.life. And drop us a message if you want to know more about it. If you've got any questions, we'll be really happy to welcome you there. And I think, Lizzie, I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you, Justin. Welcome, everyone. So we have this wonderful poem by Maya Angelou called Phenomenal Woman. And I'm going to read it like we always do. And then Justin will read it and we'll see what unfolds between us. So here we go. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model's size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing of my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. because I'm a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me.
Thank you, Lizzie. I'm so aware as I am about to read this extraordinary poem. Maybe we'll get into talking about this, about the difference in reading it from the different bodies that we each are and the different gender identities that we each are. So to read this as a man to you, who's just read it to me as a woman, there's so much here. And I'm so glad to be reading this. I've known this poem for a really long time. So it's wonderful to have Maya Angelou and her words here. And it's called Phenomenal Woman. And just a reminder that you can find this in the show notes and on the turningtowards.life website. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model's size, but when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees, and I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me.
Thank you, Justin. So, goodness, where to begin? So the feeling that this poem gives me, I mean, first of all, it makes me have a huge, big smile on my face, which I think comes from a place of, oh, thank goodness someone's articulating the substance of womanhood in some way rather than the shallowness of it or something. And I feel, I mean, of course, my Angelou as well is like deeply legendary, excellent, powerful, beautifully impactful human being in the world as well. And so having her address the topic of womanhood and what that could be, rather than many of the stories that we get given about what it means to be a woman in the world, feels very important. And so I'm loving the distinction she's making in some ways about an older, for me, much more conditioned narrative than a narrative of being a woman that's powerful and compelling and strong and voluptuous and mysterious. And the kind of the power that comes through this to me feels so validating and inviting and real and deep and wide, and like it offers a possibility of being real rather than a version of womanness that is what a kind of I don't know, like the conditioned me might think from all the things I've seen in magazines and from all of the things I've heard about what I should be. And then suddenly Maya Angelou gets into my inbox with that, and I'm going, ooh. And it's not like I haven't been thinking about this for a long time, but somehow the articulation at this point in my life of these words now, I just feel like a kind of liberation and a invitation and a kind of sassiness or a kind of powerfulness that feels so necessary in comparison to all the messages that we get told through the kind of straightforward media consumption that just happens when you're not even looking. So it feels like a very big departure from all the meta narratives that are out there, the bigger stories about what it means to be a woman in the world, and a powerful, important departure that feels very necessary to consider being me as a woman in the world.
As you're talking and as I was reading, Lizzie, I feel like there's so many different ways in which I'm relating to this poem. So one of the ways in which I'm relating to it is listening to you talk about you
Mm-hmm.
in the light of Maya Angelou's poem, and then thinking about what I know of you from knowing you for a long time and feeling your aliveness as you talk to me, and what the words awaken in you that's always present, that gets recognized, which is
Mm-hmm.
really inviting, alive, glorious to be alongside your aliveness. So I'm reading that way, like receiving you in in a way that's invited by Maya Angelou, and seeing in you and receiving from you so much of what she says. So there's that, and I'm thinking about all the other women I know in my life, friends and family, and there's an invitation here to um given what we were talking about algorithms earlier, I was particularly struck, actually, as you read the first couple of lines. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model's size. You could also say I'm not built to suit the algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
in a way. And there's such a strong invitation here. I think the mistake would be, what's the way to say this? So I watch you come to life as you read and hear her words, and what resonates in you that's her. So that's wonderful and alive. And then I also think the mistake it would be to wear Maya Angelou's words as if this was the way to be, because there are going to be as many ways to be a woman as there are people, and they're not all going to be exactly the same as Maya Angelou's. So some of those words will resonate. And then for most people, there'll be other words too. Like if you were to write your own version of this, the Lizzie version of this, you might take some of Maya's words, and then you would have Lizzie words. And the reason I'm saying it that way is it um, reminds me of the possibilities and the responsibility of being with other people and paying attention to whatever the unique something that they are coming forward from them is. So like my job, it's a funny way to say it, one of the ways I can be here with you now is not only to notice what's true from Maya's words, but also is to pay attention to what's true that's not Maya's words, that's you, and that has got nothing to do with whether you are cute or built to filled suit a fashion model size, any of those kind of meta narratives, is to really receive you as you are. That's what's being asked of. And then the next part of it is, of course, I want to add an and, which is to read this and to find that this is true about me too, that it's not an exclusive poem, although it is particular. So its particularness is really important. She's writing about women and for men and for everyone. But there's also something universal about it too. Like I can find the places where I want to go. It's the fire in my eyes and the flash in my teeth and the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet, and to live into that, to know that that's my heritage too, because there's also a human heritage here that
Mm-hmm.
comes regardless of body or gender identity or any of those kind of things. So I want to also receive for me the invitation to neither be self-diminishing nor to be grandiose, but just to be real about my own powers and my own capacities and my own loves and my own energy and my own sorrow and my own joys and my own. I feel like that's the something, the invitation here is both to be real about ourselves, but also to somehow be grateful for being able to be the ones that we are, and then to bring that kind of attention to everyone else as well. In a way, to be able to go to say, oh my goodness, there's a Lizzie here. What does that mean? And also there's a Justin here. Like, let's properly, in a genuine way, receive and celebrate what that is.
Yeah, I think it's I love it that you brought that bit about the algorithm. And Justin, before we joined, I was talking about David Bowie. I don't know how I'm supposed to say that. I used to say Bowie. Don't know if I should say Bowie. Anyway, David Bowie saying in one of his concerts once, and to fellow musicians, basically, never ever play people what they want. Play what you want to play to them, and they will enjoy it, and that will be a good gig, kind of thing. And that's what this is to me. As you say, it's like there's a universal call to realness. And I think that's the invitation that feels like I received from Maya Angelou. As you say, there could be some things that are individual to me that I resonate with and things, but really what it is you don't have to be who anyone told you to be. If anything, you need to look at what they tried to tell you and see what it means to be something that's yours, not what belongs to the things that you got told to be. Because in the end, that's not going to be what human beings want around you anyway. Even though you're trying your hardest because you kind of got told that that's what people wanted you to be, that isn't really what we all want anyway. So it's a little bit like you talking about the algorithm, Justin, that we have to do things on the internet to get seen because the algorithm tells us what we should put in or whatever. And then when I just walk down that road just for a little while, I'm like, well, then what even is anything anyway? If all we're doing is doing what we're told to do, and then I don't know, I can't even follow the thought. It doesn't make any sense to me. But if you are you and I am me, and we turn up just the way that we are, truthfully, with realness, and we have a sense of making the distinction between what I got told I should be and some of those things maybe I'm okay with being, and they resonate with me and my truth, my inner kind of truthfulness about myself. But then all of the inside wonderings about who I might be, or who I'd like to be, or who I feel like I'm called to be. How do I start saying more and more yeses to those things so that I can not just deliver on what everyone wants, but deliver on living the life that belongs to me, not the one that belongs to everyone else? And this feels like a lifetime's work. And I think this inquiry exists at all depths because it's so, I think our world is so built in so many ways on pleasing people. And I think we actually are our systems. I know that my system is built in a way where I'm looking the whole time for what people want and somehow automatically trying to deliver on it. But then doing that for a while hasn't anyway got me to anywhere, really. I don't think. I think people want me, not who they who they don't want the person that I think I should be. They want the person who I really am, and that's what's appealing. And that's what I want too. I want you to be you, and I want me to be me. And all the ways that you've been taught how to be a man, Justin, that don't fit with you, I'm really happy for you to throw them away and be who you want to be, and whatever that means. So and I think this whole, you started talking about, the whole question of gender and all, there's all these things associated with being a certain gender and having these identities. And I really, apart from anything else, I'm just interested in the inquiry when we ask ourselves, well, what's mine and what's not mine? Which piece of this gender identity belongs to me and which doesn't? Plenty of pieces of life, of being human, of humanness, that might in some places belong to a gender identity of manness, that actually I'm quite happy with for myself. And lots of different things from different places of humanness that I would like for myself without it being labeled, but being just, they belong to me and they might belong to you too. And that feels to me like a very, very interesting inquiry, rather than just sitting with all of the associated stereotypical attributes of being a woman that got given to everybody by the press anyway, not even anything with any kind of substance. How do I live in a way that resonates with and sits well inside of me and feels like I'm, like you said, feels like I'm real?
I'm really struck by one of the thoughts that's been bubbling up in me as you've been talking, Lizzie, is about this language of authenticity that people often talk about.
Mm.
And I think that there's a unhelpful way of thinking about authenticity, which is that you find what's enduringly true inside and you are just that. Because I'm not sure that there is one thing that we are inside. I think we're many, 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 many things all the time. And so I much prefer the definition of authenticity that has to do with authorship,
Mm-hmm.
which is to really see, as I think is expressed so beautifully in Maya Angelou's words, to see that we're self-making beings, that we make
Mm-hmm.
ourselves by how we choose to live and by what we choose to say and who we choose to be with. And that involves what you were just saying. It involves maybe taking what's been handed to us, what our ancestors handed to us, what the culture hands to us, and then sifting through and going, rather than going, well, I should just be what everybody told me, is to be able to say that one of the central projects of being a human is to be able to answer the question, what kind of person do I want to be?
Mm.
What kind of stand will I take on my own being? And that's a choice.
Mm.
And it will resonate in some way with things that feel enduringly true about us, that come with the particular bodies we have or with the particular temperament we have, whatever. But so much of it is also shaped by what's handed down to us and the time in history that we live and all of those kind of things. We don't have endless choice. There are authentic choices that either you or I could make, which would put us so outside the realms of what anybody else would understand that we'd have nobody to talk to and no network of support and no whatever. So we're always choosing in the context of others, and it's our own most like it's also ours. And so the I think one of the things that I find so exciting in hearing Maya's words read and reading them is actually less the specifics, although there are some of them, as I said before, I read them and I go, oh yes, that. Like the joy in my feet, it seems so inviting to me. But the bend of my hair doesn't meet me at all. It's less that, and it's more the sense that she's saying, I'm a really active participant in the kind of person I'm being in the world.
Mm.
I declare that my presence is these things and I'm paying attention to them, not for any reason other than this is my life to declare that with. And it seems to me, in listening to you talking about the stories that are written for us about being male or female, or having some other gender identity, or being a child of the family that we're a child of, or being born in our time, or having the skin color that we have, all those stories that we're given, they're not always life-giving by any means. They often exclude enormous important aspects of us and keep them in the shadows. And really what I think Maya is asking of us is pay attention show up, make choices, ask yourself what kind of aliveness you want to be in the world, find a way of cultivating that and being it. And that's the genuine call of being a human, which is so different from going to sleep, numbing out, just doing what the algorithm asks, or what we got handed. And there's a particular line in it that I think I'm so glad she included, and it's like often these things, it's pretty much the middle line, and I'm sure that's very intelligent and deliberate, where she says, they can't touch my inner mystery.
Yeah.
And it's recognizing that beyond and behind all the appearances and all the stories, what we are is a kind of very mysterious and pure aliveness, and we have this one brief opportunity to bring it to the world. And can we find a way to bring it? And I'm picking up on a word you used earlier, Liz. You talked about belonging, where we belong to our own lives, where we will belong to life, which is a little bit different from trying to belong to a particular in-group or out-group. And can I belong to life? Which I think belonging to life pours through these words in such a strong way.
Do you know, I'm feeling this rush of compassion and admiration, I think, for anybody who has kind of deviated from the thing that they were given by the ancestors or whatever, because what's at stake is belonging. And I think it's such an act of, and I guess why this is so energizing for me to read Maya like this, Justin, because we really need people who've walked before us who tell us it's okay to not do the thing that we got told to do, that we could do something differently, because it's really hard to say, I'm not going to be the kind of woman that I got told that I should be by all the pictures on the side of the bus and the stuff that's really powerful, or my parents or my family system or whatever. And for someone of such substance to give us permission to question it all and to say, oh, so there's a way that I could be an author of this identity. I'm an author. I'm not only a receiver of something given to me and then I just have to be it or something. And for some of us, it's like an erupting thing that I can't deny. I have to be the thing that I feel like I need to be in the world. And then for some of us, and maybe it's like different parts of our process or something, it's less dramatic than that. And it's a really kind of calm, quiet, and fierce longing to be real that takes time and bravery to say, I'm going to be something that's important to me, but it's not valued in my family system or my culture or anything. But I'm gonna seek out places of support, seek out places of inspiration where I can find some ground, almost like finding a source of power that is helpful to my stepping out of something and then relying on it for a bit. So I can feel myself like relying on Maya Angelou for a bit, going, oh, I'm just going to rely on that poem as being real in the world. And I'm feeling like if I rely on it a bit, I've got permission. Having her be my elder for a little while, maybe forever, and thinking, I don't really have any elders that say this stuff to me, really, but she's saying it. So I'm gonna hang on the coattails of that and let her be my elder. Like let myself belong to her and let her belong to me through this gift of her writing, and then feel the permission that brings. Because I probably am not gonna get permission like that from the places that made me. That poem didn't get read out at my school. My mum didn't give me that on my 15th birthday. You know what I mean? It's like I feel like we need places that are diverse and real and powerful to show us the corners of what's possible when it feels like I couldn't possibly be that. That's not where I come from. That's not who I've been taught to be, or I've been taught that's not okay, or that that's rude, or impolite, or too much, or too big, all those things. And then suddenly this comes along, and I'm like, oh, that's a different source of power telling me different things, and I'm going to have a go.
I feel like you and Maya are making a very fierce invitation for us to really pay attention to our lives, because being Lizzie Winn is there's a one moment chance in the history of the universe for there to be a Lizzie Winn or a Justin Wise, and it is definitely possible to spend an entire life not asking the question who
Mm,
who to be, like what would bring me into belonging with life itself, what would be bring me in contact with this crackling, vibrant presence that we all are. And you can live an entire life playing the game of um, trying to escape from life. Like, if I follow all the right stories and I'm the right kind of person, somehow I'll escape all of life's suffering and difficulty and complications, and that never works out.
mm,
And thank goodness for a conversation like this, which I'm feeling as a reminder to keep on paying attention. Like, pay attention to life. Don't go to sleep.
mm,
Keep asking the question, who am I becoming, and how is the way I'm living having me become that? And what do I choose, and what is it to really belong in and receive my life? And most of the stories we're told about life don't ask that of us.
mhm,
They don't ask, they ask other questions. Get famous, get successful, which might or might not be brilliant,
mm,
but it's not the same question.
yeah.
So it seems to me it's a great question to ask when we're 15 or 25 or 35 or 45 or 55 or 85. The moment we realize it's a question to ask is the time to start living into the question that Maya and you are bringing us.
Mm. Thank you, Justin, and thank you everyone for being here, because my sense is that even Justin, the people who gather to listen are ones who are in these big questions already of, well, what's mine and what's not mine? And is this way of living belong to me, or have I made a mistake here and just gone with the flow when this wasn't my flow, kind of thing? So I'm appreciating the feeling of the community, of all of us, of ones who wonder about truthful things and wonder about life in deep ways. I'm grateful, Justin, that you can read a woman poem as a man, and that's just okay. You know what I mean? Like, I not taking it for granted that you're able just to join in the conversation, and that I guess we hold all of these structures of the way we're human loosely enough that we can dance into the other realms if they are other, and just be okay with that. So thank you. And I look forward to reading one that's by a man for men, seeing how it feels for me as well. So thank you everybody for being with us, and we'll be back with another episode of Turning Towards Life next week.
Thank you, Lizzie, as always. Thank you, everyone.